Hey, Frank, we got a good question this week, okay? I'm going to read it off.
Awesome.
How does God want me to make my choice about getting married, and who am I to marry? So that's the question that we've got. I thought it was a pretty good one. I'm excited because we're both married, so I think we can speak on this a little bit here.
Yeah, right.
I was going to give a plug on it real quick. You know, Paul writes about this in the letters to the Corinthians, right?
Yep.
And I guess I just want to make a note on this, that it's more of us discerning what God's will is for us in terms of getting married and who we should marry, and less about that we have to get married, right? Some people aren't going to be called to marriage.
Right.
Some are. And there are certain things that, you know, married couples can do that we can be used for God's work that maybe single persons can't, and vice versa.
Yes.
Right? If I'm going to go on a mission trip halfway around the world, and probably better if I'm a single guy or gal to maybe do that, you know, depending on the circumstances. Whereas that might be more difficult for someone who's married, or has some unique challenges. So it's not even that one's wrong and one's not. I want to speak to that on the question. It's more of, are we spending that time in prayer and helping God to lead our lives for what we're supposed to do? What do you think, Frank?
Well, I think you make a lot of great points there, Jeff. Important for people to think about. Because I know that I've done a lot of weddings in my time, and one of the things that I require of people that I'm going to marry is to go to counseling. And if you're asking about who should I marry, who should I not marry, well, when you're getting ready to get married, you better find out all that you can about the other individual. And that means getting somebody who has an objective ability to be able to talk to you about life and about all the different things. Now, you may have a pastor do that, but I always encourage people to go to a counselor, because counselors are trained to do that kind of thing and have those kind of conversations. What do we think about having kids? What do we think about alcohol? What do we think about other drugs? What do we think about sex? What do we think about, you name it. The list is long, but in order for you to feel good about your marriage, you really need to bring God to the table and then investigate all the different avenues of it to help you find out whether or not you are yoked properly, meaning you're connected properly, you know? Just because you're Christian doesn't mean that you're compatible with somebody else as far as marriage goes. So it's incumbent upon us to find out how do we relate to each other? How do we think about these things? Do they work together? Can we compromise on things? Those are all big questions that people often don't think about as they're getting ready to get married. But man, to get them a year or 5 years or 10 years down the road, and they're like going, wow, what do we do? I don't know how to navigate this stuff. Counselors can be such a big part of helping people resolve and figure out, is this something God wants us to do or not?
Yeah, no, I love that, Frank. And what I like about it too is I'm going to admit, when Jen and I, before we got married, we did counseling at the church we were attending at the time. And I'll be honest with you, my attitude was kind of like, well, we don't have problems. Why would we go get
right.
counseling? A bad attitude to have. But this was like, 16, 17 years ago? I don't know. Hopefully Jen doesn't watch the video. I don't remember exactly how long ago, right? But no.
You'll be in trouble.
I'll be in trouble,
yeah.
exactly. But really good to do that on the front end, right? And there's a Bible verse about that, right? Like seeking wise counsel. So praying and then maybe talking to someone who knows a bit about that to really see, like you said, are we compatible? Some of it's just minor stuff, just talking through issues, right? Who's going to take care of this or who's going to do what? Mm-hmm. A lot easier to do that on the front end than trying to figure out when it's a mess is what it sounds like.
Absolutely. Because, people come into any relationship, whether they're getting married or not, with assumptions about this is a male's role or this is a female's role or whatever. But if you don't know what those assumptions are, you can't deal with it. Jen may think, well, my dad washed all the dishes, so she's getting married to you, so she's going to assume that you're going to wash all the dishes, but you don't wash dishes.
I don't wash all the dishes. I do some.
Okay,
some.
All right, we're good. But you get what I'm saying. You gotta be able to explore these things, and God is in the midst of that exploration.
Oh, I love that. And then just final plug on that too. Obviously, you're never going to go wrong, right? Bible's got a ton of advice on marriage. If you follow that, you're going to be just fine.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, thanks for watching. Hey, if you guys liked what you saw, please go ahead and click like and subscribe. Frank, anything else?
Jeff, thanks so much. Appreciate everybody watching. It's a blessing to us to have you with us.